Okay, here we go, and Nicholas Nielsen does convert that pole position to a lead, and Lando Norris has had to play it conservatively because Tom Joyner has gone through in second place, although he's lost that second place now. Has he? No, maybe not. And Felicitieni also getting a good start in third place. So Tom Joyner second, Felicitieni third, but quite clearly Nicholas Nielsen converting that pole position to an early lead. He did move away from the inside line where there was momentarily a situation where it looked as if there might have been an opportunity for somebody to try to dive through. The opportunity may not have been a genuine one, and certainly nobody chose to take it. So those front running three a little bit clear of the rest at this early stage. You saw at the top of your screen there was a driver well detached at the back. So and Felicitieni moving into second place, was he? No, he wasn't. Well, Nicholas Nielsen driving this Cosmic Vortex in kart number 103, driving for the Cosmic Racing team, completes the opening lap in the lead, and the margin in his favour is half a second, so that's a healthy lead. And again, I've made a missed call between Nick Carey and Tom Joyner for the second time in the day, so very, very much to my own personal annoyance. It was Nick Carey, not Tom Joyner, who was having that little dice, and it's Nick Carey in second place and Felicitieni. I suppose in my defence, a Tony Kart driver in a Tony Kart racing in a Tony Kart race suit can be mistaken for another one in an identical situation. Lando Norris, who started on the outside of the front row, not only did he make the early start, he's got himself detached from the front running four. I think he's down in sixth place at the moment as I counted him through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But Nicholas Nielsen and Lando Norris was fifth now. Lando Norris fifth now. Yes, there he is. Very easy to identify. Callum Eilert up from 34th to 28th on that opening lap. Still a lot of work to do, but there's still a lot of laps to be raised as Nick Nielsen dips his head well under pressure from... And let's just have a look first of all at the potential move on the wider angle. I was going to suggest that Nico Kari was just applying pressure in the sense of getting close, but he's gone past, and Nico Kari takes the lead. Tom Joyner sets the fastest lap, but Nico Kari takes the lead and looks over his shoulder as if to say, there, I can drive past you. And as Nicholas Nielsen moved to try to drive in the gap, Nicholas Nielsen found that the guy in front, Nico Kari, had closed the door. So Kari of Finland making an early statement, I can pass the guy who starts on pole position, and he has. This is lap 3. Tom Joyner now in third place. And Tom Joyner actually putting pressure on Nicholas Nielsen, so it's a double negative whammy for Nick Nielsen. Not now in first place. We need to amend that bottom info bar because Nick Kari is the lead, Nick Nielsen in second place, and Tom Joyner in third place, Felicitieni fourth, and Lando Norris fifth. And Lando Norris still a tiny bit detached, but Lando Norris does often tend to come straight. And there goes the move into second place by Tom Joyner, the world champion. That looked very, very simple, easily executed on Nick Nielsen. And Felicitieni says, well, while you're doing that, that leaves a big gap. I'll drive through that gap. I'll drive into third place. And he has. And Lando Norris goes fourth with the aid of a fastest lap. So Lando Norris now fourth. In third place now, Felicitieni. In second place is Tom Joyner, and our race leader is Nick Kari, Nico Kari of Finland. Oh, and Felicitieni in kart 104 then very nearly succumbed to a passing move by Lando Norris. Lando Norris in fourth place. Let's stay with this scrap because Lando Norris, sitting much lower in the kart, is really got his sights on Felicitieni. They're the third and fourth of these that I'm speaking about. This is Nick Kari leading from Tom Joyner. Felicitieni and Lando Norris looking to trade places if they... Well, Felicitieni is not looking to trade places with Lando Norris, but Lando is. Alessio Lorandi in sixth place sets the fastest lap. In fact, he's gone... Norris goes fourth. Norris goes third. Norris goes third as I'm looking at that fast lap. Always manage to have a knack of just looking away from the screen to the timing screen when the action happens. But if I stay glued to the screen, I don't see the message of people climbing up through the field from the back. One of those little conundrums. Well, Nico Kari has a margin of .338 on Tom Joyner, and Tom Joyner, to me, looks as if he's getting a little closer. We do say often that our television pictures can foreshorten the true distance, but whilst Nico Kari to some degree had got away while there was that flurry of passing, Tom Joyner looking over his right shoulder, which so often can be a prelude to, dare I make a gamble of a move? Because if it didn't quite work, he may well not lose second place, as opposed to finding an attempt to go from second to first ends up with him being fifth or sixth. Not just him, but anyone in that situation. Tom Joyner, though, first of all, has to be close enough to Nico Kari to attempt to make the move, and at 0.29 of a second behind, that isn't close enough at the moment. Relying on a mistake by Nico Kari, perhaps. Nico Kari, who finished second at La Conca in the final. Really good drive by Nico Kari there, and he rarely has a bad event. He can have the odd disappointing race, but rarely a bad event, and right now we're on lap 6 of 18 and he leads the final. Outside of the top 20, you see that Callum Eilert has moved up to 28th, but it's perhaps not the fastest progress that he would have liked, because this is the 1/3 race distance, and starting stone last, you would have perhaps wanted to pick up a dozen more places, but hey, Callum Eilert knows what he's doing. I don't. Alessio Lorandi sets the fastest lap at 61.659. Drivers that we've lost, incidentally, are Juho Pahaka from Finland, the Bahrainian Nico Cristofaro, the tremendously luckless Gabriel Aubry. Everything that can go wrong has gone wrong in this championship for him. And Leonardo Pulcini, even worse off, he didn't make the start. Nico Kari leading. Tom Joyner in second place. And when I thought that Tom Joyner was getting a little closer previously, clearly now he's not. Lando Norris in third place. Still has Tom Joyner in his sights, but is not in a position to make a move. Behind those two, Felice Tieni's kart 104, Nicholas Nielsen is kart 103, Alessio Lorandi is running 6th, Marco Mastranzi is running 7th via the last chance race this morning. Good effort that by the Italian. Paolo Besonsone has also repaired the damage of a disappointing event to get into 8th place, and Pedro Hiltbrand now into the top 10, the driver from Spain running 9th, and Derovala in 10th place. Lando Norris trying the tight line there, wasn't he? Well, we can't say that it was not a good idea. You want to try to do something, but Felice Tieni says, look, Lando, if you're going to go off the recognised line, I'll do something about it. Well, Nicholas Nielsen has done something about being in 5th place, is moved up to 4th place, and that at the expense of Felice Tieni. So for Felice Tieni's little enquire, ooh, and that's getting a bit tight between those guys, isn't it? And, well, no further comment. You saw the pictures. Shall we say they were using the full width of the tarmac, the full 10 metres width of tarmac here at the 1700 metre circuit at Zuera. Tom Joyner, having now taken the lead from Nick Kari, has put in a 0.34 of a second advantage over the Tony Kart driver. Tom Joyner first, Nico Kari second, Lando Norris, and Lando Norris goes through into second place. Lando Norris into second place. And the angle, that low angle camera there, really picks up the difference in approach that different drivers are making on that turn, but also just distorts a little bit when it's solo in terms of how successful some of these attempted passes have been. So second and third is the scrap at the moment with Lando Norris and Nico Kari. Lando Norris holding off Nico Kari, and it's Nicholas Nielsen in 4th place. Tom Joyner we're not ignoring because we don't like him. We just think that there's a better scrap to be seen for 2nd, 3rd and 4th, and that's what we're watching at the moment. There they are, Lando Norris 2nd, Nico Kari in 3rd place, Nicholas Nielsen 4th, and Alessio Lorandi 5th because he's got past Felice Tieni. And Felice Tieni fell away a little bit in the pre-final, lost a couple of places late on. Marco Mastranzi having set a fastest lap. No wonder he's picked up a place, that at the expense of Felice Tieni. And second place, again, as I'm looking at the screen, and then I look at the timing screen, and then I look back onto the screen, Nicholas Nielsen and Nico Kari have done a little bit of damage. I'm speaking metaphorically, and Lando Norris now in third place, needing to repair some damage. Oh, a nice move there by Lorandi. And you can see this really is the scrap of the race behind Tom Joyner. Tom Joyner at the bottom of your screen. Lando Norris got the work to do because the driver in front of him, which is Nicholas Nielsen, not looking to make much of an error at the moment. Behind those, I think that I'm looking at I'm looking at Tom Joyner at the moment in the lead. In second place, as we called it, Nicholas Nielsen and Lando Norris. Lorandi is the driver on a charge. Alessio Lorandi has got himself up to fourth. That was and he's got himself up to third. So Alessio Lorandi of Italy is very much the driver. He's shown on fourth on your screen at the moment, but just as that was coming up, he has got himself further forward. Nielsen's second now, Lorandi third, Norris fourth, Kari fifth, Tieni sixth, and Maestranzi isn't completely out of it in seventh place. The only driver not in the mix whose name I've not called was Tom Joyner. Why? Because he's out in front by a margin of 2 full seconds now. This is lap 11 of 18, and Tom Joyner's lead is not a winning one at this stage, but boy is it a healthy one. And second place actually now looking a lot safer than it did moments ago. Nicholas Nielsen having had the dice with Lando Norris, and then the charge by Alessio Lorandi changing the, if you like, the dynamics of what was a six-way battle for positions second to seventh. This is the start of lap 12. Tom Joyner's lead is increased to 2.1 seconds. Nicholas Nielsen second, Alessio Lorandi third, Lando Norris fourth, Nico Kari fifth. Paolo Bassonsone has got past Marco Maestranzi for sixth, so Maestranzi drops to seventh, and Felice Tieni, he's in free fall, I'm afraid, because he's dropped to eighth now. Pedro Hilbrand still holding ninth, which is held for about 4 laps, but the top 10 now is completed by Kevin Rossell of Denmark. Johan Daravula having dropped out of the top 10, he's running in 12th place. This is Tom Joyner, kart number 119. Tom Joyner drives a Zanardi Perilla for Zanardi Straka Racing, comes into this event with only 6 championship points. But let me tell you something, he went to round 2 of a 2-round World Championship in Bahrain with a very meagre, disappointing showing from round 1 in PF International in England, and he wiped the floor, won that one handsomely, and took the world title as a result. Have to say, if Ben Hanley's tuned in, it was only on a tie break with Ben Hanley, who had the same number of points, but the point I'm making is that you can have a disappointing opening round and go on to big things. Tom Joyner, a disappointing first round, let's say that, just 6 championship points, but boy, on lap 13 of 18, is looking pretty handsome now, isn't he? Karol Bash of Poland, who had to start in 31st place, has got the fastest lap of the race, but it's not elevated him into the top 10, although he's just outside the top 10 in 11th place. Tom Joyner then, very modest young man. When he won the World Championship, people were saying, hey, well done, and saying, yeah, well done, I've won the race. And they're saying, no, you've done enough to win the championship, because other things happened during the race, and it went Tom Joyner's way. But modest man, but well deserving of the praise that he gets, and well deserving of that particular title, no question. So we're on lap 14 then of an 18-lap race here at Zuera, and Tom Joyner's lead is, while I was talking, has gone up to 2.26 of a second. And the piece of passing there just down at the bottom of the screen, and that was in the middle order of the lower middle order of the top 10, if you will. But we're looking at Tom Joyner, the world champion, the former world number 2. That was also a situation where he had a very poor first round, then, as I think I said earlier on in the day, had 4 championship wins at Macau, China. So Tom Joyner untroubled, as a 2.26 seconds lead would suggest. In second place, Nicholas Nielsen, and a quiet look over his shoulder by Tom Joyner. Nicholas Nielsen second, Alessio Lorandi in third place. Been a good drive by the Italian. Nico Kari, who led for quite a while, in fourth place, just struggling a little bit. Nico Kari really did extremely well, and has set a fastest lap. I've said struggling a little bit, but he's suddenly found some form, hasn't he, at 61.439. So Nico Kari, let me have a look how far he is behind Alessio Lorandi. It's biggest part of a second, about 0.8 of a second. And we've got another 4 laps, including the one that we're on. So it's a bit of hard work to be done. Well, Nicholas Nielsen in second place, Alessio Lorandi in third place, but both of these trailing. It's nice, and a little bit of rattle there on the rumble strips, hasn't done anybody any harm. And these two drivers racing predominantly blue race suits and blue chassis, but of course if you look at the helmets, there's the difference. Nicholas Nielsen in front of Alessandro Lorandi. Lorandi with that, well, what shall we say, a sort of lime green hint, yellow-green hint to the helmet colour. Getting closer, isn't he? Our television pictures are making that abundantly clear. Alessio Lorandi putting the pressure on Nicholas Nielsen late in the race. These two are in a podium position of second and third, but this is a championship where championship points, the differential, 25 for the winner, 20 for the second, 16 for the third. To go from third to second will get you another 4 points. And I've just mentioned that last year's World Championship was won on a tie break, not even by 1 point. So, as Devlin De Francesco told me earlier on today, a comment we've heard a million times, points mean prizes. We're on lap 16. Tom Joyner increases his lead to 2.5 seconds. I don't want to discount Tom, but this is the more interesting battle, because with 2.5 seconds lead and no back markers in front of him, there is Tom Joyner to the right of your screen. Looking back over his shoulder is Nick Kari, but he's not close enough to try to make a passing move on Lorandi. And it may well be that Nick Kari is just acknowledging that Lando Norris in 5th place is not likely to get up to him. Although, having said that, he sets another fastest lap. Must be frustrating for Nick Kari to set these fastest laps, but not only does he not gain a place as a result of it, but he doesn't seem to be getting any closer to the guys in front. Obviously, by the numbers, he must be. But we're on lap 17 of 18. He's still got a lot of work to do to catch the third and second drivers, which is Lorandi third, Nielsen second, and certainly out of his genuine aspirations now is Tom Joyner, who you just saw going through the screen, top of your screen now, moving right to left. So, with fastest laps under his belt, but a potential missing of the podium position, there is a good shot there, really good shot of Nico Kari, but Tom Joyner starts the final lap. Is there a twist in the tail in second and third? Nicholas Nielsen is second, Alessio Lorandi is third, Nico Kari is fourth, Lando Norris fifth, Felice Tieni is sixth, Maestranzi of Italy seventh, Besançonnet of France eighth, Carol Basher, good drive by Carol Basher, didn't know, from 31st up to 9th, a good drive by the pole to 9th, and Kevin Rossell of Denmark in 10th place. But we're watching Tom Joyner, the driver who just quietly goes about his business. Wasn't sure at the end of last year what he was going to do. You've won the world title, Tom, what are you going to do next year? Well, I don't know. Hadn't really thought about it, but then I wasn't expecting to be the world champion. Well, he's racing here now, and he's making a serious challenge for the CIK-FIA European Championship. Of course, he will defend his world title. Just about another 300 metres to go. Over onto the home straight, acknowledges rather quietly, not too ostentatiously, the victory. Tom Joyner wins it, Nicholas Nielsen is second, Alessio Lorandi is third,